strategists in America, they are even more so right now. At some point, the risks around this story become more symmetrical, and you start to lean the other way. And I think there's a risk right now, and I was talking to Mark McCormick of TD earlier on this morning about this, of conflating a short-term flush out with a longer-term trend. And that's always the story in markets. There's always a risk because of recency bias, that you take the events of the last...
What's going on? What's going on, everybody? This is Caddy with Money Vesting. So another day, very excited about that. Pre-market, we're looking much stronger than where we were before. Kevin, what's going on? Hamid, what's going on? Welcome. Good morning. What's going on? Welcome on board. So, hi. How's it going, everybody? I hope you guys are doing great. Today, the market's not looking as bad as they were yesterday. And I do want to share the QQQ chart that we are seeing some consolidation sideways, right? So we are seeing a little bit of consolidation, even though we did sell off yesterday. So we'll see where the markets end up. So thank you so much for joining in. I'm in class right now. That's great. So thank you again for spending the morning. India's been treating me really well. Erica, thank you so much for asking. It's been really fun. The time difference is the only one. My face is looking like yours, happy. Yeah. So regardless of where the markets go, right, down or up, it's always good to be cheerful, have a great morning, regardless of what the markets. I know it can be really discouraging at some point and frustrating, but it's always interesting. Mustafa, shout out to Chicago. Welcome for joining in. So yeah, the market's looking pretty good. The Nasdaq QQQ ETF up over 2.5% almost pre-market. We got about 20 minutes exactly left for the markets to open. So again, we'll take questions about a bull trap. We'll see, where the market's potentially headed. But again, this is the pattern. This is the trend for the Nasdaq. It's no surprise that we are very weak. We are, trading in a downtrending channel, making lower highs, lower lows. But what we're waiting for is for the Nasdaq, or more specifically the Qs. You guys know that, to validate that demand at 297. Yesterday's low was 299, and we're back up over 300 pre-market as of the time of this video. Greetings from Germany. So again, thank you guys so much for joining. Yeah, so Mohit, we'll see. It's all about consolidation right now. So, you're not necessarily wrong about that. We are seeing a lot of stabilization for prices. Of course, the yields are coming down heavily right now. We're down for the yields a little bit over 4%. The 10-year yield is trading as low as 1.535. And then going over to the QQQs, the support level, very important that we need to watch. Continued support for the Nasdaq at close to 297 or close to $300 per share. That's the level that we've talked about inside that green rectangle, kind of like an area of demand. And then for the SPY, that's going to be ticker symbol SPY. We're talking about that level being close to 380, right? So 380, yesterday's low was 381. So you'll notice that we did come down to that support almost yesterday, getting tagged at that support and then pushing higher. Pre-market, we are up a little bit over 1%. So for the SPY, we need to watch 385. That's going to be the level to watch. Right now, we are trading exactly at that level pre-market. We'll see if that level actually gets broken or if we do see another push higher. So good morning. Thank you again for joining in. Shout out to all of you guys. Shout out to Australia, Lowell. I've been there. Shout out to Italy. Thank you so much for joining. Again, I really appreciate that. Shout out to Germany as well. So again, thank you so much for joining in. Yesterday, I did get a chance to watch some other videos and some other reports as well. And I know it can be very counterintuitive. It can be a place where the markets, if they're red, we kind of tap into this. Psychologically speaking, we tap into this flight away from this, right? We think that we're getting attacked from the stock market. There's not really much we can do. So the first thing that comes into mind is basically selling out of your positions and kind of realizing those losses. But again, the best way to do this, or the best way to handle that, shout out from the UK, thank you so much. Shout out to Vancouver, Mohit, thank you for joining in. So again, greetings from Holland. Wow, we've got a lot of countries up here now. So we got a lot of other different places. Michigan, Belgium. So again, thank you so much for joining. Toronto, that's awesome, great. A lot of different time zones. So again, I really appreciate your guys' time with me today. We're going to do this for maybe an hour, maybe an hour and a half, because I figured I'd do the live stream like a little bit before the market opens, so I can go a little bit longer till the markets are open, except for doing them 2 hours pre-market, because every time I am done with the live stream, we know what happens, right? I mean, that's what's been happening for so long. So I figured I'd do this for a little bit longer during the markets are open. So Shout out to Portugal, Singapore, Mexico. Again, thank you so much. Mumbai, Sri Lanka, Oregon. That's fantastic. You guys are amazing, and thank you so much for joining again. Let's take a look at how many people we have watching. So we got 300 people close to. Again, guys, make sure that you drop that like button. Really helps out with the channel and the algorithm. So let's talk about Czech Republic too. That's pretty incredible. Bulgaria, that's awesome. So for the SPY, $380 support, 385 resistance. We'll see if that actually gets broken out today, and if you close above 385, right? That's the level, because even yesterday we were trading as high as 387, but we ended up closing 385 below 385, so close to $381. And then for the Qs, again, for everybody new joining, keep a close eye at 309. That's going to be the resistance that we need to break out of. And similar to yesterday, you know, we were trading as high as 310, but we ended up closing at 307, and the support got validated at close to 297. That's the support I mentioned for us to watch. And you'll kind of notice that over here we were seeing some type of lower lows being put in by the QQQ ETF, right? Even though there was some type of resistance at 325. So double top resistance at 325 for the QQQ ETF. So we'll go ahead and put that line over here for us to watch as another resistance. You know, if we do get up there, that would be the level to watch at close to $325 for the NASDAQ ETF. So that right there is going to be an area of resistance once again for us to watch for the QQQ ETF. So we'll worry about that once we get up there, because that is going to be kind of aligned with the daily simple moving average. If I go over to the daily chart, actually no, that won't be aligned. That just would be the double top resistance for us to watch. But for now, for the QQQ, you know, this right here is the range that we need to kind of validate, consolidate sideways before having any type of a reversal. Shout out from North Korea. Definitely thank you so much for joining, Dave. I really appreciate that. Yes, we'll go over to Tesla, we'll go over to NIO, we'll go over to a lot of other stocks as well. You guys are awesome, so make sure that you hit that like button. Really appreciate that as well. So, all right, Tesla, ticker symbol TSLA. Again, this right here is going to actually be the complete technical breakdown. Let me go over to this one. And again, we'll start that notepad so that we have a good understanding of what levels we're watching. Again, these levels for the most part are still getting validated, so there's not going to be much of a change from my previous videos. But we're going to start with SPY, and we're going to start with QQQs. The support at 297, resistance at 309. And for SPY, support at 380, and then a resistance at 385 intraday. And we are looking to close above these levels. Close above. That's what we want to see, some type of a regaining of the bulls, like some type of basically for the bulls to kind of regain control, for us to see some type of a trend reversal for the broader markets as well. So the SPY and the QQQ. So Tesla up over 7% pre-market, kind of pushing higher, trading as high as $604 per share. Now, one thing I will mention is that if we do actually end up kind of opening at around, if we do end up closing above this candle and kind of overshadow this entire candle, so if we do close above 565, then, or actually, what's the high for the day? 620, or the low, the body was the open as high as low as, let me take a look. So open was 600. So if you do close above $600, that's going to be a really, really critical level for Tesla to kind of break out of. And the reason is because not only will we see like a bullish engulfing candle, meaning that this candle will be overshadowed by today's daily candle, and we would see a green day, but we would also break out over $600, which again, you guys know has previously acted, you know, as a lot of resistance for Tesla stock. So again, keep a close eye inside this green rectangle as an area of demand. 550 still getting validated the past couple of days. Yesterday's low was 558. Now yesterday, even though it was pretty red, it didn't feel like we were touching any new lower lows, right? Because these lows have already been tested. I mean, Tesla was down as low as 539 on March 5th. So that was not even this week, that was last Friday. Right, so March 5th was last Friday. So even though we did see a pretty significant sell-off yesterday, but then a little bit of the support levels got validated yesterday as well. So let's take a look more. Shouldn't we be looking at more supports from the NASDAQ instead of S&P because of tech heavy sell-off? Yeah, so the NASDAQ, again, this right here is going to be the NASDAQ index, ticker symbol IXIC. We're kind of retracing down to our 100-day simple moving average. My worst case targets, you guys know already, is sitting at 11,800 for the NASDAQ, which is, we can expect that. We'll see if that actually happens. Because that would be a pretty healthy correction of over 16% from all-time highs for the NASDAQ index. Again, not something that we have not seen before. It's very, very normal. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. That's what I was wondering too. I was like, who is joining in from there? But again, right? Is the voice okay? Is the audio coming out okay, or is there anything else like? Is there any echo or anything like that? Is there any other noise that you guys can hear? So let me know in the live chat if it sounds okay. But for the NASDAQ, 11,800, kind of like the worst case target, and then for the S&P is going to be close to about 3,500, close to that level. So that right there is going to be the correction territory that I've labeled. It's going to be a drop of close to 7%, 8% from the highs. But again, if you were to go over to our sector breakdown chart, you'll know that energy and financials are the ones that are leading the pack right now, keeping the S&P 500 much, much higher compared with the tech. All right, mic is good, perfect to hear, very good audio, loud and clear, very good. All right, perfect. All right, greetings from New Zealand. Thank you so much for joining from New Zealand. I really appreciate that. Let's take a look at NIO. So NIO is also up pre-market, close to 5.5%. The support level to watch is going to be roughly at $35. But I'll still keep this $30 level intact, kind of aligned with that 200 daily simple moving average, previous resistance. And there's been a lot of bearish sentiment on these stocks, right? They're like beaten down. They're down 40, 50% in some cases. And again, AMD is down, Nvidia is down so much, from its all-time highs. I mean, it was trading as low as 460 something or 463. An absolutely incredible sell-off from $613 per share. So drop of close to 24, 25% for Nvidia as well. So again, we'll see where these patterns kind of consolidate sideways, and trade sideways, find a support, find a base to push up higher. And we'll see if there's anything interesting going on. For the most part, I mean, it's mostly the bond yields.
It was highlighted earlier.
Let's take a look at what they're saying. BlackRock, multi-asset management.
Really crowded trades that you can debate where we are in the unwind, but they've moved quite a bit. And some of that money is finding its way into the more cyclical parts of the market, which are frankly very small parts of the S&P. So I think we're more in the early to mid innings of this rotation. But look, some of the bigger cap and some of the bigger winners from the tech side of things, even though we are an income fund, we are looking at adding some of those, particularly in the form of covered calls, where with vol so elevated, you can sell really out of the money call options on some of these tech names and generate a lot of income.
Bill, just a final word to you, sir. You're sitting in cash, you're sitting with a huge liquidity position, and you're waiting for an opportunity. Can you help me understand the roadmap for you, the signposts you're looking for to allocate that capital as the year progresses?
Yeah, it's simply an improvement in the opportunity set. Like I said, we're confined to fixed income. I have no issue with what was said about equities. I mean, if people are prepared to take that type of risk, it's fine. Put that in your risk portfolio. But fixed income to me is money that people can't afford to lose, and they're already losing this year. And when I look at things like again, high yield at the lowest yields it's ever been, and you're pricing in basically a 2% default rate when the actual default rate in high yield is close to 7%. That's got to come down a lot just to meet the current pricing. So to me, we are finding some opportunities in short-dated floaters on the corporate side, and within non-agencies, some well-seasoned pools and with good demographics. But outside of that, we're remaining very conservative, because the problem with fixed income is everyone talks about it on a relative basis, right? Relative this, relative that. So relative to governments, which are down 6%, I own corporates, which are down 4%. And the way I look at it is, on a relative basis, getting punched, I'd rather get punched in the side than punched in the face and break my nose. But on an absolute basis, they both stink. So, again, that's the thing you have to remember.
All right, they're just talking about fixed income and how they're sitting on a little bit of cash. But let's take a little bit of questions, and I'll also kind of set up the charts because we have less than 10 minutes for the markets to open. So hello, thank you for joining in. So are we going to see a recovery on tech today? So Zion, that's a great question. I was just going over this pattern for the Qs. As many of you know, this is an ETF that tracks the NASDAQ index. We can also take a look at the IXIC, go over to the 4-hour chart, that's the NASDAQ in general, and you'll notice that we are seeing a little bit of consolidation sideways, right? If I go over to QQQs, you'll notice that we're not making any more lower lows, so that's a good thing, that's a good sign, even though yesterday was as brutal as it was, down a little bit over 2.8%, down almost 3% for the Qs. We've already been there, so coming in from March 5th, so last Friday, the Qs touched as low as 297. So we're not making quite that lower lows again. So, my estimate is that we're potentially going to see some consolidation sideways. We could see some more, consolidation and stabilization of the prices because we're already down close to 12% from the highs. So today, the resistance level that we need to watch is going to be a breakout over the 309. That's going to be the very, very important level, kind of aligned with that 21 EMA, the black line, and of course, that's going to be a previous support as well. So you'll notice that we have found support here, which is acting as a resistance. We have gotten rejected here on March 5th as well. We kind of retested highs of 309.20, got rejected, sold off even further. So the most important thing for tech, if we're ever going to see any type of recovery in the future, is for the Qs to maintain 297. That's a support that we need to kind of validate, move up, kind of hover over that level. And then, as the earnings season roll around, it's gonna be a while. I mean, it's not gonna be quick recovery back. And the less volatile the market's gonna be moving forward, the better it's gonna be for the organic growth we're gonna see in the future. So very, very excited about where the Qs trade. We're up a little bit over 2% pre-market with about less than 8 minutes left for the markets to open. So this right here again is going to be the sector breakdown. You guys already know which sectors are leading. We've got financials and energy leading the pack on the S&P 500. And then we've got tech all the way down here year to date, down about 0.5%. It's very unusual for tech to kind of stall, especially behind energy and financials. It's usually the leader in all broader market pushes higher, right? So this right here is actually coming in from way back in, let's see, January of 2019, April 2019, and the leading sector, you'll notice XLK, right? It's been the highest one at 92% increase. Then we had XLC, consumer discretionary and consumer communication services, which has Amazon, Tesla, some of those other stocks. And then after this white line, so that's the vertical line that you guys see on the chart. Actually, let me point that out. So that's going to be this line that you guys see on the chart. It's going to be January 4th, 2021. So that's year to date when we actually started. You'll notice a downtick in tech, and you'll see an uptick, a massive uptick in energy. And that's what's driving the broader markets especially for the S&P 500, kind of stable, and then of course for tech to be down substantially. So that's what we're seeing right now. We'll see if energy and financials continue to push up higher. We've got the oil that we need to keep in check. So the Brent oil was trading as high as $70 a barrel. Let's take a look at where it's trading right now. So it's going to be UK oil. So let me pull that up over here very, very quickly. We'll take a look. It's trading as low as $68, still up a little bit, and then we've got the 10-year yields down about 3.5%, trading as low as 1.542. So again, very, very interesting times. This may persist for a little bit longer. We've covered a lot of different things on a more broader scale. We've covered a lot of different fundamental macroeconomics, different inflation, taxes, the labor market. We've discussed a lot of different things. Don't sleep today. Maybe I won't. We'll see. The plan is to be live at least for an hour, maybe an hour and a half, and then do a lot of technical analysis, and then we'll see if I actually get tired, I'll do that. Kari, you were really talking about technical analysis. That's great to know. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. I'm really glad the videos are helpful. And again, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate your comments. So let's take a look at some of the other ones. So Southwest LUE is one of the airlines that I was particularly bullish on among all airlines, something that we have also covered because their balance sheet and their fundamentals are perhaps the best one out of all airlines. So if you are looking for some recovery plays, if you are looking for some reopening trades, again, I know that I covered tech very, very specifically. That's kind of like the sector that we're very concentrated on, but it's not for everybody, right? If we are seeing these drastic drawdowns and pullbacks, all the power to you. If you want to kind of diversify a little bit more into those recovery plays, value stocks, you are more than welcome to do that, right? Then these are some of the stocks that I would personally be looking into for those recovery plays. So Southwest is going to be, of course, number one in terms of airlines. We've got Disney. Disney is going to be a great one as well. Of course, I mean, tech is going to be really, really volatile, right? And of course, I'm not a financial or investment advisor, so please, by all means, kind of look into this place as well, because inflation is going to be really, really important in the future. And as that continues to kind of kick up, we could see some more kind of stalling, consolidation, or sideways movement for tech and the broader markets in general. But Disney, as the theme parks continue to open, they are also kind of tapping into those sort of like that streaming services, so the tech more specifically, and they are projected to kind of take over Netflix as well, and take on as well. So Disney would be another one. So we've got Southwest, we've got Disney, and then we've got JP Morgan is going to be another one. If you are looking for banking and you are looking for some exposure on some of financials, they've been pushing up higher as well. Although I would mention that they are already getting priced in to some extent. So you'll notice that JP Morgan is already trading much higher than their pre-pandemic highs, right? So pre-pandemic January 2020, they were trading as high as 120, and you'll notice that since like the last few months, coming in from September, it's up close to 68%, and the R side of the MACD are a little bit overbought. So I would try to wait for a little bit of a pullback if you are looking to kind of get in on those plays. All right, so we've got a little bit less than 2 minutes for the markets to open. So let me go ahead and set up those charts very, very quickly. We'll go over and talk about some of those stocks as well. So let's see if I can split this. Let me go ahead and split this one. So we're going to go over to the 1 minute chart here. Alright, so the S&P still validating that 1% gain pre-market. And this right here is going to be the QQQs. Alright, we'll see where we end up. So pre-market up a little bit over 2.5%. So, alright guys, make sure that you guys drop a like. We have a little bit over 1,000 people watching, so let's see if we can get to at least 500 likes. I really appreciate you guys' support. Again, we're going to break down a lot of different stocks. We're going to talk about Tesla, NIO, Palantir. We're going to talk about Apple, Amazon. The markets are now open. We'll see where the Qs and the S&P kind of trade intraday. So very, very excited. Trust me, I'm not going to bed for some time. For some time. We're not going anywhere. So we're seeing some push higher. Intraday up a little bit over 2.6%. This is going to be the SPY up over 1%. Let's take a look at what's actually pushing higher. So we've got Tesla trading all the way as high as $611. Then we've got Riot up over 12%. We've got GameStop again pushing higher. Fiverr up over 9%. We got Shift, Pubmatic, Tesla again pushing higher, close to 609, and all we really need to see is a Tesla's validation of 600. That's all we want to wait for. I personally do not want to see Tesla break out over 650 or 700 today. I just want to see a validation of 600 so that we can see some support at that level. And intraday, I would not be surprised if it does break down below 600. If it does come down, trade as low as 590, 585, 570 levels. But we just want to see the close above over $600 per share. All right, ChargePoint up over 7%. We've got Square up over 6, almost 7%. NIO up over 6%. PayPal, Etsy, Vroom. We've got Zoom Video. We've got Nvidia finally pushing higher, up a little bit over 4.5%. AMD up over 3.5%. We've got Apple, Microsoft, and some of those other tech stocks also pushing higher. And then we've got some Bank of America. So financials, Palantir down over 6%. Wow. Trading, oh, actually, no, that's wrong from Webull. I don't know why it's showing me that. But instead, it's up close to 4%. So, again, are these actually red on the day? Okay, so Delta is red. Southwest is red. Chevron is also red a little bit. ExxonMobil, AT&T, Pfizer, Bank of America is also in the red. So, some of those other stocks also pushing higher. Let's take a look at the Qs and the S&P. We're still up in the green. S&P up over 1.2%. And the Qs are up a little bit over 20%. So here's the thing, if today QQQ turns negative on the day, then I can be very confident in saying that there's a lot of weakness in the markets. There's a lot of bearish sentiment because we gapped up over 2.5%, and for the bears to push us in negative territory for the Qs, for the Nasdaq, pretty much, is going to be it's going to be a very stronger move. right? Because it's not normal for the Qs to turn and give up 2.5% on the day. So that would be a lot of weakness for the QQQ ETF, and not something that I don't think anyone is looking forward to, but we'll see if that actually happens. So, all right, Tesla trading as low as 601. I'm going to bring up NIO over here on the 1-minute chart. Also pulling back, trading as low as $37. The high for the day, 38. And we are, again, pulling back pre-market, just like we've been doing for the last few days. All right, Tesla trading exactly at 600. Now breaking down below 600, trading as low as 599. So all we really need to see is a validation of 600 on the day. So that's going to be the support to watch for Tesla. Support at 600. For NIO, support at close to 35. For Palantir, we've got support at 2250. And these levels are still getting validated, right? It's like these levels have gone validated for a long time. Edgar's, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Not this again. Yeah, we'll see how the markets, if they turn or if there's anything. So Qs are pulling back a little bit, 2.5% still up in the green. And this right here is going to be the S&P. Actually, let's go over to the 1-second chart to actually look at by tick. And so the high for the Qs is $308 per share. So the Qs pushing higher a little bit. All right, so let's take a look at what's going on in the markets here. We got Riot up over 16%. Pubmatic is another stock that we've covered on the channel, up over 16. Well, Bank of America is really selling off. Down over 2.65. I mean, you've got JP Morgan down 1%, Chevron, ExxonMobil because of the drop in maybe in oil prices, but ExxonMobil really selling off a little bit over 1.7. We've got Chevron down over 1.5. We've got GE down close to 1.2%. Southwest down close to 2.5% now. It's really selling off intraday. And then we've got United Airlines down over 2.89% as well, continuing on that sell-off. Sorry guys, so all we really need to see on the day is the validation for the Qs at 297. That's going to be some consolidation sideways. It's going to absorb all the selling pressure that we have been seeing for the last few weeks. I was just looking at Q's weekly chart, right? So if you go over to the weekly chart for the QQQs, you'll notice so many weeks, just 1, 2, 3 weeks of absolute rejection, and we are sitting perfectly on that 21 EMA. Something that we have also covered on the channel in the past is that 21 exponential moving average. And this is something that the bulls kind of take seriously, right? I mean, we saw that on Friday. We're seeing that this week as well. So if I were to kind of remove all the trend lines, you guys will notice that we are perfectly sitting above that white line. That's the 21 EMA. Every time we've pulled back, the bulls have stepped in right at that 21 EMA. In the past on September 14, this right here on October, right before the elections. And then on Friday, we were trading as low as 297. Yesterday, we were trading as low as 299, but the bulls again stepped in. I mean, had we closed below $307 yesterday, that would have been a little bit of a problem. So we closed at $308. So we closed at $308, and that's where the bulls are kind of stepping in, right? We were fighting that $307 on the 21 weekly, like on the weekly average, moving average. Because the last time we broke down below that moving average was right before the pandemic. So that was a time when this right here, we broke down below the 21 EMA. That got pretty ugly very, very quickly. So, and the second 2 times, boom, boom, validation of that 21 EMA. And even if you do break down, yes, it's going to be very ugly in the short term, but it's going to be backstopped by the 50 EMA, kind of aligned with that $280 support, and it's going to be a drop of close to 16%, and that's where my worst case target is for the NASDAQ. So first area of support on the weeklies, 21 EMA. If I go over to the daily chart, or the Qs, this right here is going to be like 297. Also as like a double top support that we need to watch on the 4-hour chart. So this right here, we are up a little bit over 2.8%. Let's take a look at where big tech is trading. So let's take a look at EVs first. So we got electric vehicles. All right, look at that. When was the last time you actually saw this? When was the last time we saw something like this for electric vehicles? When we have XPeng up over 7, close to 8%, Li Auto up over 8%, Tesla up over 7.75, we've got NIO up over 7, Nikola also up in the greens, Hyliion, CCIV, Workhorse, we are all EVs are all in the green right now. Can't even remember the last time we saw that. Banks. So we got the financials in the banking sector, apart from PayPal, MasterCard, and Visa, which I do think they're more fintech based. We've got all other banks kind of in the red. Bank of America down over 3%. We got JP Morgan down about 2%, Wells Fargo over 2.7%, and Goldman Sachs up over down about 2% as well. So I have my candlesticks. This right here is going to be the 1 minute chart on each. So you'll notice how we are seeing a different pattern. So we are seeing a little bit of consolidation and some type of lower highs being put in for the SPY, and the Qs are still pushing higher a little bit based on tech. Feels like ages. I agree. Let's take a look at those ARK funds that are getting a lot of negativity right now. So ARKK, their innovation ETF, up over 7%. We've got ARKG, that's going to be the genomics ETF, up a little bit over 6%, and then we got the fintech, internet ETF, and some of those other ones also in the green so far. We'll see if the day actually turns around. And then let's take a look at big tech. We've got Amazon up over 2.75, Microsoft up over 2.3, Apple up over 2.6, Twitter, AMD, Tesla, and Square, Nvidia, NIO, and we've got IPOE up over 6% as well. And then we've got TQQQs up over 8% since they are levered. Fiverr up over 10%. Baidu and FNGO also up. FNGO, I'm still trying to see what that right entry is going to look like for this one because it's really, really aggressive. So, it's tech heavy. It's very, very tech oriented. ETF has like 10 stocks and 10% each concentrated to like Apple, Microsoft, Tesla, Twitter, Nvidia. So very, very aggressive in how that moves. All right, so let's put that back to the Qs. All right, so all we really need to see is a validation for the Qs. You'll notice how we are struggling at $309 somewhat at that resistance. The high for the Qs is 308. And yeah, I mean, we really need to see consolidation sideways. Regardless of what happens intraday, it really depends on where the markets close, because we've seen the markets kind of sell off, have some type of a recovery intraday, and then sell off even more, right? So those are like really, really can really fake people out. Is like you'll see some type of a recovery for the NASDAQ, and then it'll end up making lower lows on the day. So it really depends on where the markets close. That's the most important thing, is what price levels are getting validated, what moving averages are getting validated. And 307 is kind of like on the weeklies, is like every time the bulls kind of step in right above $307. So even the low for the day, $306.98. So if you do see any type of selling pressure come in and a break below 307, that's going to be really, really interesting for the QQQ ETF. And on last week, we actually closed at 299. This right here was a close at 308, and this right here was a close at $304. So again, that right there is going to be consolidation as an area of support for us to see if we can continue to validate that support or not. So energy down a little bit over 1.7% on the day. Let's take a look at some of these stocks. So Tesla, Palantir are pulling back once again. So Palantir down, trading as low as 23. We are seeing a pretty significant sell-off for NIO as well. And then this right here is going to be Shopify, down a little bit over 3.97, close to 4%. All right, NIO actually selling off quite a bit, trading as low as 36.70. So we are seeing that pullback, and that should be reflected in the Qs as well. So let's take a look here. So there you go. The Q is kind of turning, and so is the SPY. So that's what happens. Right now we're seeing financials, energy kind of stalling. Tech was keeping SPY up, but if tech continues to pull back as well, which is what we are seeing on this chart, there's a lot of stocks that are pulling back right now. Let's take a look at where Apple is trading. So Apple is at 119, and let's take a look at Square. So up a little bit over 5%. So again, we gapped up, and right now we could see some intraday pullback or weakness for these stocks that could get translated into the Qs as well. So the 10-year yield is still down a little bit over 3%. So Kathy did it. So all right, let's take a look. Thank you so much, you guys, for joining in. I really appreciate your time. Let's take a look if there's anything interesting going on. So the Nasdaq really pulling back quite a bit. Let's take a look at some of the cryptos. Riot up over 17%, and Mara is up also another 17%. With Bitcoin, did it hit a new record high? 54,000. Actually, no. So all right, so we were just shy of a new all-time high, but Bitcoin is up close to 3.87%, and we are pushing higher once again. For Bitcoin, and Ethereum has been on an absolute rally, right? So Ethereum has also been pushing higher, although the all-time high is sitting well over $2,000. Undercover, that's awesome. That's great to know. Congratulations on that. Really excited for you. All right, what do you guys think for the QQQs? Green or red? What are we gonna see for the close? Green or red? Are we going to close green or are we going to close red for the Qs? For the Qs only. For the NASDAQ ETF. Let me know in the live chat if you guys think we're going to see a green day or a red day for the QQQ ETF. Because if it's a red day, for the Qs, you guys really think it's going to be a red day? Because if you see a red day for the Qs, it's going to be a pretty severe sell-off. We're talking pretty much entire tech turning and giving up on all those gains. So we're talking like companies like, actually Enphase Energy I feel like is very, very in a prime spot right now. Like anything under 150. All right, red, go to bed. Sadly, red, green, barely green, feeling good, green, small green, green bull trap. Interesting. So yeah, I mean we'll see where it ends up, because if tech continues to pull back intraday, that's going to be a pretty severe sell-off, so to speak, and there'll be a lot of weakness for the Qs. And then things get really ugly if you close below $307 on the week. So by Friday, the challenge for the Qs intraday is to close above 297, or make sure that we close above 300, and then for the week is that we close above 307, because if we close below the weeklies on the 307 level, then we're potentially headed down to the 50 EMA, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a 16% correction from the highs. What's pushing SPYs higher? Let's take a look at some of the other stocks. So let's take a look at some of the growth ones. So we got Riot, Mara, PubMatic, Fiverr, Growth Generation. We've got Baidu. Let's take a look. So we've got SE up over 5.87. So all right, interesting. The SPY is just pushing higher. Are any of these pushing up again? So Bank of America is still red. Okay, so you are seeing some type of a recovery for Bank of America, Southwest. You're seeing some type of a recovery as well. American Airlines. We've got Delta pushing higher. American Airlines, JP Morgan pushing higher. So that's what's driving the S&P higher, right? So if you were to look at the SPY ETF, you'll see, oh, look at that. It just pushed up. So SPY is basically getting that validation from both the tech sector and financials energy. So that's why SPY could potentially catch up to Qs intraday if it gets the help from financials and healthcare and some of those other stocks and energy. And Qs is now trying to recover a little bit with tech's push higher. So gold is up a little bit over 1.89%, up over $1,700 per ounce. And then we've got the 10-year yields down a little bit over 3.81%. So SPY really taking off with some of those other sectors, right? So if you were to go over to energy, you'll notice that we are now down only 0.5%, so we are getting bought up. So look at that. This is going to be intraday, right? For the 5-minute charts, and you'll notice, let's go over to the 1-minute chart for this. So XLV is going to be healthcare. That's actually leading the pack right now for the S&P. Then we've got utilities and real estate up the most, and then technology is still up there a little bit, but you'll notice this massive curve, right? So we did sell off for energy and financials all the way down here. And then as soon as we started pushing higher for energy and financials, that's what's getting reflected in this chart. So push higher for the S&P, and then a massive push higher for SPY ETF. And QQQs is also kind of struggling up there, but we'll see if that continues, right? But it's pretty interesting what sectors are pulling back and which ones are actually pushing higher, intraday. So energy now took the lead, did it? Well, in the last minute and a half. So we'll see, in the last few minutes, it's taken the lead for the SPY. So that's one of the reasons why we're seeing such a push higher. All right, let's pull up Palantir and NIO for Daniel. So NIO is going to be up over here, so it's pushing higher, up over 6%. And Tesla, even the low for the day, 595, but we need to make sure that we close above 600. That's going to be the level to watch. And then Palantir up over close to 4%. Still struggling at $25. That's going to be the resistance. And then support is going to be sitting at close to $22.50. And then we got Square up over 6% right now. And all these sectors. This is going to be the open. So we've got the open right here. So 9:30 a.m. And healthcare pulling back, real estate. So healthcare, real estate, and utilities are the three sectors that are up the most, and so is tech, kind of like the fourth sector. So yeah, pretty interesting with energy pushing higher, and then consumer or communication services also pushing higher, with financials also up there a little bit. Right, so for Tesla and NIO, we already have those price targets. For Palantir, we got $22.50 as a support. For Square, we're going to be watching close to $250. So there was two supports for Square. If you guys remember it correctly, it was 200 and it was 215. Right now, we're kind of struggling at 215, right? We're just kind of hovering around that $215 level for Square. So we'll see if that actually breaks out of that level. Actually, it would turn into a resistance right now because we're trading below that level for Square. So let's go to the 4-hour chart here. A breakout over 309 is going to be critical. We're almost near high of days for the QQQ ETF. The high of day is 308.75. We're trading as high as $308.62. So, boom, we are pushing up a little bit, and now SPY is consolidating sideways. What do you guys think? Bull trap or a solid recovery back to new all-time highs? Let me know in the live stream. You guys think it's another bull trap, or if it's it's another recovery back to all-time highs? What class is energy? Richard, that's a great question. Energy is going to be your regular energy. So we've got ExxonMobil, Chevron in that XLE sort of select sector index as well. So bull trap, trap. So yeah, a lot of people, the sentiment is towards bull trap. And yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens, but the worst case scenario, you guys already know what I have for the NASDAQ and the S&P. A correction of over 11% for the S&P and a drop of over 16% for the NASDAQ is something that we need to be prepared for. That's about as low as I could see both of those broader markets going if technology suffers a little bit more. Yes, we do need to see some consolidation in order for us to see any type of a recovery. Let's take a look at VIX. That's actually a good point, Daniel. Let me bring that up. So the volatility on the S&P 500, let's take a look at the dailies. We are down a little bit over 5.7%. Again, we are coming down to this support at under 2420 levels. We have seen historical spikes from that. Alan, recover from this huge sell that we have seen over the last couple of weeks and pretty much the month and a half. Recovery from all this pain, so to speak, is what I meant. So all right, Square pushing up over 215, NIO pushing up over 37. I would prefer NIO to close above 38.50. That's kind of like the level that would then start acting as a new support. If you guys did get a chance to watch my previous videos, that's going to be the level that we're going to be watching. Then Tesla, of course, a close above 600 is going to be very, very important. Let's take a look at SPY and the Qs. Wow, the Qs are really up over 3% now. High of day, $308.92. So we are almost fighting that $309 per share. Like, $309 again is going to be the level to watch. And all we really need to see is some consolidation. And it doesn't mean that we can't go lower. We can always go lower. That's like one of the things, if you say that, how much lower can it go? It can't go any lower. It will always most certainly go lower if you say that. So that's something that, again, I want you guys to be prepared for. If there's more pullbacks and more drawdowns remainder of the week going into next week, take advantage of those, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be all tech. You can also take advantage of some of the other stocks as well. Some of the cyclicals, value stocks that we went over. But all in all, I mean, Amazon up over 3% at this point, Microsoft up, Facebook, ARKG, Apple, Twitter, Shopify. We've got PayPal, AMD up over 4%, $77, and then we got Tesla, Palantir also up in the green. So we're seeing a lot of buying pressure come in. That's a great question. So let's take a look at the NASDAQ and let me see if I can bring up my charts. So the Q is really pushing higher, $309. We just broke out of that level. Up over 3% now intraday. Again, this just makes me a little uncomfortable. I mean, we have seen this 2%, 3% down days and then 3% recovery days. What do you guys think? So many people are bearish and think this is a bull trap, which really means that this market will go higher. The market moves in the opposite direction. The market will. Imran, that's a great point. That's a very reasonable analysis on the markets, and something that I mentioned during my other video was we also have to understand the social cues, right? The market sentiment. And amid the recent sell-off over the last few weeks and even over a month and a half, we saw a lot of kind of bears and a lot of short sellers kind of come in that were taking a lot of short positions, right? So that's something that we always need to understand, is that when the shift or when the sentiment shifts from January, there was a lot of euphoria, no doubt about that. We're not arguing that the fund valuations did not get overextended, right? Because they did. There was a lot of companies that were trading at a significant amount of multiples that weren't pricing in rising yields, so on and so forth. But now it's like completely shifted, right? I mean, I've seen so much comments on ARK Invest and their strategy, even though like 2020 was one of the biggest years for that fund. And just because they're down like 25-30%, it was just absolutely incredible to myself that even after performing so well, like you have really bad like a couple of weeks or maybe a month, and like everyone just thinks that you are not cut out for this, right? It's crazy for me to think about that, because we all expect like perfect performance, but the markets are never perfect, right? They're always going to throw challenges and like curveballs at you, and it's just us how we kind of react to those circumstances and how we manage risk is really one of the most important things in the markets. So the QQQ up over 3%, AMD spike, somebody says. So let's take a look. Palantir up over 4%, AMD up over 4.5%. We've got Amazon up over 3.4%, Apple up over 3%. So we're seeing a lot of momentum. Let's take a look at the leading sectors now. So we've got, since the market opened, we've got tech and healthcare, one of the leading sectors. So of course, this was driving QQQs higher. Let's take a look at some of these other stocks here. So NIO up over $38, up over 7.9. We got Tesla trading as high as 609. Palantir up over 23. And Square up over $218. All right, guys, so my job here is done. I'm probably going to end the live stream right about now. I'm just kidding. So Q is pushing higher, up over $309. So definitely. Hello from Sweden. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate that. All right, let's take a look at the NASDAQ really quickly. So let me go over to the 30-minute charts. So let's take a look at the NASDAQ on the 30-minute time frame here. And also let's listen to there's anything going on. Again, guys, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate you guys. Make sure that you guys drop that like button. Helps out with the channel in a tremendous way. Yes, we have reviewed XPeng. We did that in my yesterday's live stream. We went over their earnings and how they performed. I think XPeng should be up. I think the entire EV sector is up in the green. Look at that, XPeng up over 11% finally. And this is like part of the market. I mean, what did you guys think about NIO's earnings call versus XPeng? Who did you think reported better? Let me ask you this, right? Very simple question. So NIO versus XPeng. Which stock did you guys think reported better earnings? Was it NIO or was it Li Auto? Or was it XPeng? Excuse me. Was it XPeng or was it NIO? Because in my opinion, they both reported just as much better, like earnings wise, like revenue and EPS. EPS a little bit with the forex exchange and all that stuff. But delivery wise, we expected February numbers to come down a little bit. But I thought they were both really, really well. But right now, since the markets are pushing higher, XPeng's earnings are getting priced in a bullish sense. And then when the markets were dropping really, really hard, NIO's earnings, I feel like, didn't get as much appreciation or love as they deserved, which is why they continue to drop over 11%. And the investors picked that one thing that missed EPS as the sole reason, or maybe like a future guidance. And XPeng is going to suffer with that too. Like, it's not like the global chip shortage is just going to isolate NIO and Li Auto, and it's not going to affect XPeng, right? Their delivery numbers are going to be affected too in the future. Oh, Yusuf, yes, thank you so much. I'll bring that up really quickly. So, all right. Let's go over to the main chart. I'll just go over the main chart. So this right here is going to be NASDAQ. Something that we have covered in the past as well. Let me go over to the daily chart. So for the NASDAQ, again, the trend is still down, right? We're still validating that 12,600 level, something that we have validated several times. And if I bring out the 100-day simple moving average, that's what you kind of see being talked about from a technical standpoint by a lot of people. That's the pink line, right? The 100-day simple moving average, we are validating that support kind of like here. So as long as the NASDAQ closes above 12,600, that's okay. Now, of course, there's going to be a lot of headwinds ahead. There's going to be a pretty significant resistance at close to 13,250. So that right there is going to be a strong area of resistance for the NASDAQ index, kind of aligned with that 21 EMA, the 50 EMA. So we still have a lot of work to do. It's not like we're changing the shift, we're recovering right away. We do need to break out over those moving averages for the bulls to kind of regain control. But I also think that this is a pretty healthy correction if you ask me. I mean, 12% is not something that's small. It's a pretty severe correction. We entered into a correction territory for the NASDAQ. So, that's reasonable if you ask me. We've seen 12% here, we've seen 10% here. So the only reason why I want you guys to be cautiously optimistic is because the trend hasn't shifted yet. And the bond yields down about 4% right now. We'll see where they end up. But that's, again, going to be one of the reasons why the markets could potentially see some more downside. But keep a close eye at 12,600 and then 13,200 for the NASDAQ in general to watch moving forward as like the support and resistance levels. So let's go over to the SPYs once again, and up close to 1.4%, close to 1.5%. And we've got QQQs up over 3%. So this has been absolutely green so far. So I mean, this has been look at the Qs, you guys. $310. We just broke out of that level. Like now now the Qs are forward 3.4%. This is absolutely incredible momentum right now for the markets. But yeah, I mean, we've still got a lot of work to do. This is just like a little bit of a recovery session that we're seeing, and so much buying volume just coming in. And that's something that we discussed on Friday as well, right? Friday we saw a lot of buying volume come in, we saw a lot of momentum come in, and then yesterday, Jesus, look at the SPY. Look at these moves. Let's take a look at the market and what's driving this entire move higher. We've got Riot, GameStop up over 16. We've got NIO up over close to 9, almost 10%. Tesla up almost 10%. We got Square, ChargePoint, PayPal, Nvidia. And then we've got some of those cyclicals and value plays getting hit today. So Wow, these are just like crazy green candles. Why? I can take a look at Open Door for you. Just give me. All right, let's take a look at Open Door here. So I'm not sure. Was there lockup period expiring or soon something with their earnings? Because I'm not sure with the earnings. Of course, I haven't really looked into this company from a fundamental standpoint. I know that they have like an app that I've used in the past to like buying and selling homes. But pretty significant sell-off. You'll notice the RSI MACD again coming down strongly, aggressively pushing down. So all we really need to see is some type of a validation on this support at close to 1940 or 1945 levels. Previous resistance, we kind of got validated here, and even today, like more recently, we are seeing some type of a support at that level. So that right there would be the support level to watch. And then resistance-wise, we got a lot of work to do. The first level it needs to break out of is going to be 23. Because that level, we have seen some type of a resistance here, then that acted as a back-tested support. So close to $23, $24 per share would be the level to watch from a technical standpoint. So 23 resistance and 1950 is going to be the support for you to watch. It's very, very oversold, so I could see some more upward momentum for the stock. Again, I do need to do my fundamental analysis and my research on the recent earnings for the stock as well. So the SPY up over 1.5 and the Qs are up over 3.4. We've got tech all around absolutely outperforming. So let's take a look at the sector indices. So look at this. Take a look at where the markets have been since we opened. So let me just go over here, and you'll notice how healthcare and tech, those are the two leading sectors, up close to 1% each. And we've got financials, energy, materials, industrials. Three of the most value plays down. And let's take a look at these charts over here. So we got NIO up over 38.50 finally. And then we've got Palantir up over 23.70. So it needs to break out over $25. And then we've got Square up close to 9%. So usually when that happens, so I want to remind you guys of one thing, just one little detail, is when the markets recover, right? Like this intraday, there's a lot of people that are holding from the past few weeks and the past few months, right? That are potentially in red because they were holding NIO since like, let's say $40. And this is the first time NIO is coming closer to $40. So people are like, oh, I'm going to break even, might as well sell. Not always the case, but that is sometimes the psychology behind these moves, is that once you see a strong recovery for these stocks, a lot of people that have been really, hurt by the sell-off recently in tech, when you see these stocks kind of push higher, you'll notice them kind of break even on those trades, or maybe even lock in a little bit of profit or sell out for a very, very small loss. So that usually does happen when we see these recoveries. Not always, but that's something to consider as well moving forward, right? That's kind of like a psychological piece there that we do see from these recoveries intraday as well when they do happen. So QQQ is up over 3.5%. SPY also pushing higher, up over 1.69. This is a straight up buying volume. Like in the last 9:42, right now it's 10:06. We're talking about 18 plus 6, 24 minutes, almost 30 minutes, and we've got no red candles. So green tendies all the way up till $310 for the Qs. And then for the SPY, trading all the way as high as 388. So we've already broken out of some of those resistance levels that we mapped out. So 385 getting broken. But the most important thing is a close above this level. That's the most important thing for SPY. And for the Qs, a close above 309. Doesn't matter where we trade intraday. It's all about closing. So if you can close above those levels, that's the most important thing. And then also keep a close eye on the volume, because the volume is going to be very important. Because on Friday we saw a green day and we saw much heavier volume. Like I think it was twice as much the average 10-day volume, which was one of the reasons I was like, this can't be really like a bull trap, because we saw a lot of volume come in. So maybe we see some consolidation sideways moving forward. Logan, yes, I will sell those stocks when they recover. Yeah, so a lot of people may be thinking the same way. So now 38.50 or 38.84, we are pulling back a little bit. And then for Tesla, up a little bit over 8.5%. All it needs to do is get close above 600. For Square, 215 is going to be the next support. Palantir is going to get struggled at 225, but we'll see. Yes, let's take a look at some of the other stocks if you guys want me to. Let me open up my main chart. This is going to be main chart. This is going to be the different one. So tech up over 1% now. Energy did push up, but now we are back down. Be a responsible citizen. I love that, Lily. That's awesome. That's hilarious. Alright guys, make sure that you guys drop a like. It really helps out with the channel. I really appreciate that. Let's see if we can get to at least 500 likes. And then let me go ahead and analyze some of those other stocks for you guys. So if there's any other stocks that you guys want me to look into, I'll do that. I'm going to be live for like another 30-45 minutes. Let's take a look at the broader markets. We've got a lot of greens. Enphase Energy up over 10%. PayPal, Nvidia, AMD also in the greens. Corsair Gaming finally pushing higher. It's one of the stocks that we added on to our growth portfolio. Again, if you guys want to get access to my TradingView charts, these right here are going to be charts available to you guys that will sync automatically. Every time I make changes, every time I map those support and resistance levels, they will become available to you guys. And you'll get access to our Discord as well through that Patreon link down in the description below. So we're going to do some very quick ones. So NIO and Palantir, we've already looked into those. So NIO again pushing higher, validating 30 at 50 to some extent. So we need to see, and Palantir pushing higher, up over 6% now. And Tesla also pushing higher, close to 9%, and Square close to 9%. So let me actually see if I can bring up the main chart once again. I don't think it'll let me, but we'll see. So the NASDAQ we've already covered. We're going to go over Palantir. So Palantir just needs to validate that 2250 level that we have talked about in the past. Apple going to the moon. Let's take a look at Apple. Up over 3.6%. Again, so for Apple, it's interesting because we're seeing some type of a bullish divergence from the RSI and the MACD, other than the fact that the RSI was incredibly oversold. But you'll notice that we are making some type of lower lows. So boom, right here, Apple is coming down lower than it did the previous time. So that's pretty interesting, while at the same time, the RSI is making some type of higher lows. So that's the only thing that's kind of interesting from a bullish divergence standpoint. So we'll see if we actually do get some type of a reversal from Apple stock right now, because it's been down like close to 18 or close to 19% from the highs. So BYD, let's take a look at BYD again. I know it's one of the stocks that a lot of people are interested in. It's been on a strong uptrend. I mean, this has been, if you've been trading or investing in this since July, you're doing really, really well. I mean, every time it pulls back down to the 50 EMA, that's a strong support and a strong dip buying opportunity in that uptrend where it continues to make those higher highs and higher lows. So right now, you can make an argument that we are seeing some type of a double top resistance for this stock. So I would keep a close eye at 63.75. That's kind of like the resistance to watch for this stock moving forward. Pramod, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate that. And it's your first time here, so welcome. And considering the RSI, considering the MACD, we are a little bit on the overbought side. So I'd be a little bit more cautious on BYD right now. And the next support to watch is going to be sitting perfectly at close to $55 per share. So right there, in my opinion, is going to be the next support that you can watch. And if you do see a pullback down to that level, considering that it continues to kind of validate this uptrend where it makes these higher highs and higher lows, that would be a strong buying opportunity in my opinion. And that would be a drop from its current levels of close to 8, almost 9%. All right, let's take a look at Disney. And Disney is also, again, pushing higher, breakout over 381. The RSI, the MACD do seem a little bit on the overbought side. Again, it's been pushing higher with the reopening of the theme parks and a lot of other factors kind of built in to the stock right now. So we basically blew the top off for Disney, right? That's the only thing that kind of concerns me right now from a short-term trend perspective, because it was kind of trading inside this uptrending channel. We blew the top off and then we broke out even further. That's something that we saw with Square. We saw a very similar pattern until finally it came back down, right? So it was trading in this very similar pattern where you'll notice that it was kind of making these higher highs, higher lows. We blew the top off all the way to 280, and then we came all the way back down to 200, kind of aligned with this higher low. So that's going to be this support level validated for Square. And that's the only thing that I'm seeing for Disney as well, is that you are seeing like a breakout over this level. So the next support to watch for Disney is going to be sitting at 181. That's going to be a pretty significant pullback, but that's the case with stocks, right? When they do come down, that's not really the stock coming down. That's basically the risk decreasing for that stock and reward basically increasing for that stock. So any red day for your favorite stocks should always, in my opinion, be seen as a really strong buying opportunity. So QQQ is up now almost 3.36%. We got the S&P pulling back a little bit, up over 1.5%. Let's take a look at some of these other stocks. NIO almost breaking out over 39. Tesla almost breaking out over 617. So for Tesla, the next resistance it needs to break out of is going to be, let's take a look, is going to be like this 21 EMA. I mean, the $605 was a level, but we are trading above that level right now. So 620 I have on this chart as the next resistance, considering that that has been a previous support, and we're still trading inside this green rectangle, so like an area of demand. So it needs to break out over 618, I would say today, or call it 620, because the high for yesterday was $620. So $620 for Tesla as a resistance and a close above that level is going to be important. So we're going to put resistance at 620 and close above that level. And then we've got NIO support at 35, and I think the resistance is at $38, close to $38.50. So all we really need to see is a close above $38.50 today, and I'd be happy with the NIO's price action. So $38.50 is a level that we need to watch for NIO. Again, a lot of consolidation before this move higher. The 21 EMA on the 4-hour, a little bit maybe, because that's a level we have gone rejected. So if I were to remove these trend lines, you'll notice got rejected by the 21 EMA here, pushed down, pushed up. That 21 EMA sold off even further, and now we're seeing some consolidation and a retest potentially of that level. So there would be two resistance levels. A close above 38.50 is going to be first one, and a close above the 21 EMA, which is going to be sitting at 39.62, is going to be even better for NIO. So we'll see if that actually happens. All right, let's take a look at some of the other. Let's go over Oracle. So Oracle, definitely, this has been a strong stock. I mean, this has been pushing higher quite consistently over the past few months. And again, like similar to some of the other stocks that we've analyzed, you'll notice that it's basically kind of trading outside of its range, or like this higher high and higher low pattern. So it like blew the top off. Again, consistent pattern. We blew the top off. The RSI, the MACD is a little bit on the overbought side. So more that would be a little bit careful here. Of course, the earnings have a lot to do with it. They're coming up, looks like, sometime this week. Actually, let me bring up the earnings. I think they're reporting. I forgot when they're reporting. So let me take a look. Stock. Palantir. Nope. So was it? Yeah, I can't find the earnings calendar, but I will go over. I think they're reporting sometime this week. But again, a little bit on the overbought side. Watch $66 as the next support if you do see any type of a pullback for this stock. And it's crazy because when I was like mapping out these support levels like way back in like January and February, it felt like they were so far off from these stocks. Like right now, Oracle trading at $72. 66 seems very far off, but they do happen. Like they'll happen immediately. Like like Nvidia. When I was mapping out 500, when Nvidia was trading as high as 615, it felt like it was a lost cause because it was so far off. And Nvidia now has sold off all the way down to 470, 495. So they happen really, really quickly. They'll happen in a snap, right? So it's always important for us to always understand, where those support levels are going to be, where we could potentially see some type of a hiccup for the stocks. And you'll notice like it's happened, like 558, 560, we validated here a couple of times before breaking down, then back testing that as a resistance. We sold off all the way down to 515, $500 per share, kind of range bound now, trading between that level. So 500 is going to be the level to watch for the Nasdaq, for Nvidia, excuse me. So for Nvidia, 500 is going to be the next resistance, and 475 is going to be the next support moving forward. The support at 475, and we've got resistance at 500, and they'll kind of hover around those levels because of the spreads. We may see lows of 482, 470, 465, but it's always important as to where the patterns close or the candlesticks close, which is where it determines if that support or resistance was validated or if it was broken. All right, so Tesla up over 619. The Q's pushing higher, the SPY's pushing higher, up over 1.72, and the Q's are up over 3.6. We've got Tesla. Look at NIO, up almost $40 at $40. So, all right, let's take a look at where we are. I mean, we still have a lot of recovery to do, especially with the portfolio that I have. February and March was absolutely brutal. Well, March has been so far into the year, but it's been quite rough, and there's no other way to put it, right? I've been down substantially, and the growth portfolio has also been in the red. Let me show you guys actually really quickly. So do you think NIO will close over $40? Let me know in the live chat. Where do you guys think NIO will close on the day? Over $40 or below $40? Again, guys, if you guys want to join the Patreon, the link is going to be down in the description below. You'll get access to the Discord, you'll get access to the TradingView charts, and you'll get access to the growth portfolio as well. Which, by the way, we just added a new position. Tesla, look at that, up almost like trading as high as 622 at this point. And look at NIO, 39.75. So much buying volume coming in. That's interesting. So NIO pushing higher because of the news that they will launch all Chinese EV stocks in Hong Kong exchange in 2 half of the year. So that's interesting. So I don't know why the mirror is not working. Oh, there we go. All right. So, all right, this is the day so far. Again, we are down quite a bit on this portfolio, substantially from the all-time highs. Like back in February, March, this portfolio has taken a beating because of how tech-oriented this is. But this is the growth portfolio, of course. We've got 4 positions in this. We've got Corsair, Palantir, Tesla, and AMD. Strong conviction on AMD, but we are down substantially on this position right now. But on the day, we're up a little bit over 1,300, but we still have a lot of work to do because total gains are still down, right? Because of Tesla, Corsair, Palantir, and AMD, they're all down because of the market sell that we have seen. So again, there's no other way to put it. This portfolio has been getting killed over the last month. But again, it's more of a long-term outlook. I do have an outlook of over 4, maybe 5 years out, and I have a strong conviction in these companies as well, especially the ones that I'm holding in this portfolio. So we'll see where that ends up over the long term. Please don't go to bed. It's something about it, right? It's just like the more we've been online, like the more live streams I've done, and even it's like timing too. Like every time I have come on board with the timing wise, it's always pushed up. It's very, very strange. So we'll see how everything plays out. But yeah, very, very interesting. Like look at these moves. Look at these moves right now. I mean, NIO almost at 40 $39.96 is going to be the high. And then we've got Tesla up over 11%, trading as at 627. We've got Palantir struggling at 24. We got Square up over 9%. And this is the Qs and the 10-year yields are down a little bit over 3%. So yes, I know it can be a very lonely place. So the Q's up over 3.68% now, and then SPYs are up over 1.75. So yeah, I mean a lot of momentum for a lot of these stocks. We are pushing up, you guys. So this is going to be the complete, I mean, consumer discretionary and tech just taking off, and it includes, we've got Amazon, we've got Tesla, we've got of course, Amazon, Apple, Microsoft are going to be all included in tech and consumer discretionary. And then we've got industrial and energy, two of the sectors that are kind of lagging behind. Financial is still kind of trying to stay up there. So if you were to go over to the EV watch list, you'll notice that we are XPeng up over 16%, Li Auto up over 15%, NIO up over 12%. So, and Tesla all in double digits here. And then we've got CCIV, Nikola, Ride, Hyliion, Workhorse are all in the green as well. And then let's take a look at some of the other stocks. So we got Riot up over 25%, Mara up over 20%. Let's take a look at DraftKings. So DraftKings is up another 4%, you know, bounce off of those $54 levels. And the next resistance we're watching is going to be sitting exactly at $64, $65 per share. Again, if you guys have been watching the channel, you guys know exactly what support and resistance levels we're watching for DraftKings, right? So we got a lot of momentum coming in. We're seeing a little bit of a pullback intraday. We'll see if this continues to push higher. AMD up over 4.8. We've got Shopify. We've got Apple. ARKG, we've got pretty much everything. ARKG is up over 8%. Wow. Let's take a look at ARK Invest ETS and how they're doing. So 8%, ARKG up over 8%. We've got some of the other ones, 5, 7%. So absolutely incredible. Enphase, strong company in my opinion, heavily undervalued in my opinion, has a lot of potential over the next 10 years as we continue to roll out, you know, more renewable energy, solar panels, so on and so forth. So again, and they're profitable. Like in fact, we've done a complete research on them. I have a price target well over $300 on Enphase. We'll see if that level gets hit, but in my opinion, that's going to be a strong company to watch. Don't stop streaming, guys. I'm actually really worried at this point. It's like I really think that if I turn the live stream off right now, we could see some pullbacks. Let's take a look at how many people we have watching. So we have 911 people. Again, guys, make sure that you guys drop a like. It really motivates me to continue to live streaming. Take a look at Etsy. So Etsy, again, a very strong company. Both Etsy and Wayfair are companies that, from an e-commerce standpoint, you know, strong players, strong fundamentals as well, and they are going to continue to do well. So they've got a consistently, you know, ascending pattern, making higher highs, higher lows, no doubt about that. So, Chitra, please don't go. No, of course I won't leave you guys alone. Of course I'm here for as long as I can be here. Where I'm live, it's about 9 p.m. So we've still got a long way to go for the markets to close. So, for Etsy, I mean, this is the support to watch for Etsy at close to 198 or close to $200. Again, previous resistance, new support validated a couple times here, validated a few times over here, and we are pushing higher. So again, RSI, MACD, no surprise, pushing higher. We're potentially going to see a bullish crossover from the MACD or the signal line. So only leave when NIO hits 45. Look at that. Q up over 3.77%. Tesla up to 632. Wow. Let's take a look at this chart over here. because this is really important. Q's up over $311. We're finally crossing over that 21 EMA. If I bring out the analysis, it's 2:26 a.m. over there. Where are you tuning in from, Sahil? That's pretty late. Are you even further west? Further north, east? Yeah, further east. I meant, like from India, it would be west. But where are you tuning in from? Stay live until the market's closed. It's gonna be 3 in the morning over here. But yes, we are breaking out over 309. So that's the resistance that we need to watch. So again, bulls kind of stepping in on the weeklies at 307, and $309 is the resistance, and 297 on the dailies. So Sean, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Richard, that's good to know. That I'm glad that you're having fun, and that's what it's all about. The markets are, we come together during market open, during market hours, watch the markets, regardless of whether they're green or red. It's always fun to kind of understand the broader markets, where individual stocks are trading, what deals are out there that we can take advantage of as well. So 928 in Mexico. So again, very, very happy about that. Long time coming. Yes, I mean, this has been a long time coming day. But we have to see if this continues intraday or if we do actually pull back a little bit. You always stay out till 5 a.m. here in Singapore. That's good to know. Go to bed and let the live stream running. That's actually a great point. Didn't even think about that, Derek. That's a great point. Could actually do that, definitely. So the markets, NIO breaking out over $40. Tesla breaking out over 632. We've got Palantir up close to 24. Square up over 220. Let's take a look at Apple. Up to 121. So just straight up, I mean, this is just buying momentum coming in. So So we're already 1 hour into the trading session, so exactly 1 hour. So you'll notice that it's 10:30 a.m. and the volume on the Qs, you'll notice, is at 24 million, right? So 24 million, and the average 10-day volume is usually at 67. So we're talking about 35% already of our way there. So that's 35%, close to 36% of the volume in 1 hour. And that's all buying volume. So at this rate, we've got another 7 hours left for the markets to close. You're talking about close to 200 million volume or close to 100 million volume if you do continue. It's going to be much higher than the average 10-day volume, considering that within 1 hour we're already 1/3 of our volume way there. So you guys are hilarious. So NIO pulling back a little bit, back down below $40, and then we got Tesla trading as low as 633. All right, so let me know where you guys are tuning in from. So what part of the world you guys are watching from. Just let me know in the live chat, because I really want to keep you guys engaged, and I'm really interested to find out and potentially give you guys a shout out from everywhere, right? Because it's interesting how during these live streams we're coming in from all over the world. That's fantastic. EU, we're in EU. We've got Singapore, London, Germany, Wisconsin. I've been to Wisconsin, great state. Miami. Well, I've been to Malaysia, not Singapore, but Ireland, Morocco. I've always wanted to go there. New York, spent a couple of years there. Portugal, I'm a huge fan of Portugal. This is awesome. You guys are awesome. So, all right, so we are definitely, very much in the green with tech and healthcare leading the pack. Financials kind of up there, but it's been mostly, since the market opened, it's been mostly kind of healthcare, consumer discretionary, and tech. Utilities a little bit. Energies are pushing higher just a little bit as well. Romania, Hong Kong, we've got Vienna, San Diego. Yes, I know, Kenny, that's awesome, right? All around the world, that's pretty amazing. And I'm like really, really overwhelmed with how the markets kind of bring us together. So, you know, that's why we really enjoy this, is that it brings us together to talk about the markets and really watch them together, right? Talk about different stocks, and shout out to all you guys. Amsterdam. I wanted to go to Amsterdam, but I haven't really gotten a chance. Once the lockdowns get lifted, I am going to be traveling a lot more. Today, tuning in from Mars. That's good. I like that one. So yeah, definitely. You know, this QQQ is up over 3.5%. SPY up over 1.7%. Now, honestly, here's the deal. QQQ is up over 3.5%. If I wake up to QQQs being red, I'm gonna be really, you know, there's gonna be some cause for concern there, because for bears to push us down 3.4%, for us to close below the open or previous close at close to, let's take a look. So yesterday we closed at, or anything below $300 or close below 300 is going to be very, very significant pullback. So yesterday's close was 299. Anything below 300, if you close below 300 for the Qs, that's going to be a lot of weakness for the broader markets. And that's how it's been for so long, which is why I'm always skeptical on these moves, especially on the recovery side, because they can, you know, lead to a lot of illusion on the markets, because right now we are pulling back. But we'll see. We'll see if these moves continue to push up higher, or if we do see any type of a pullback intraday. Let's take a look at where everything else is trading. So Tesla pulling back, and NIO also having some type of a minor pullback. And this could, you know, also be a result of some of the recovery plays or break-even plays for a lot of stocks that I talked about earlier, that, you know, everyone who's been investing in tech, this is the first opportunity I feel like they've gotten in a long time, when all these stocks are up so much that they can kind of either break even or cut out for a small loss, or basically take in or sell at a small profit, right? That's how psychology is. There are some folks out there that could be probably dreading. They're like, oh, if it comes back to this level, I'll probably sell for a break even. And that's what we could potentially see as well in the markets, at least in the short term, before seeing some actual buying volume and buying momentum come into the market and push us, you know, over those moving averages for the bulls to kind of regain control. So let's take a look at if there's anything going on at Bloomberg. So you'll notice Tesla getting bought up once again, 630. Palantir getting bought up a little bit. The high for the day is still 24, and we've got NIO needs to break out over $40. This is the next resistance for NIO. Apple literally at 121, exactly up 4%, trading as high as 121. Alan, I can turn that fan off. Maybe that's what you guys are hearing in like the sort of like the noise in the background. Probably a little bit. Shouldn't be as that bad though. But for QQQs, again, 309 is going to be the level to watch, that it needs to kind of validate intraday.
Called mind control. PPP, the Payroll Protection Program, helped so many small businesses across the country, really as a bridge.
Right, they're talking about the labor market. So Apple, you'll notice, is pulling back now, breaking down below the 21 EMA. Oh yeah, Derek, it's pretty hot over here. It is. So yeah, there we go. We are going to see potentially some pullbacks now, because it's the first time we are actually breaking down, you know, below the 21 EMAs for some of the stocks, and we're making some type of lower highs. So you'll notice for NIO, strong uptrend. and now we are starting to make some lower highs. So we could see some weakness, and then again, it also depends where we close after, or like right before the markets close, right? If we do see any type of stronger move, or if we see any weakness towards the close. I'll take that, Richard. Thank you. I really appreciate that. So again, the Q's pulling back a little bit, up over 3.4%, and the SPY up over 1.7%. Seeing a lot of momentum, of course, for the broader markets. Let's bring up ARKG here, or let's bring up CCIV. Let's take a look at where it's trading. So up over 7%. Jeff, I was in a couple different states. So I lived a couple of years in New York, I lived a couple of years in Minnesota, and then I lived a couple of years in Boston. So that's where I was for about 5 to 6 years in the U.S. So CCIV making a strong move. It is validating that support level is close to the middle VWAP, the 21 EMA. So I think Zillow is gonna be a strong one. I think Opendoor is a great one. I just need to do my research on them to kind of understand the earnings report and the fundamentals and how they did. And then in terms of other real estate stocks, Redfin is another one that you could potentially look into as well. And what do you mean by upcoming government bond auction? I'm not quite 100% sure what you mean by that. So if you want to provide some clarity on that. Ask the NASDAQ to adjust their times. Yeah, maybe I can do that. But then it'll be all adjusted for you guys too. Then, you guys... Well, there will be night for you guys too, like late in the morning. So, Sile again, thank you for joining us today. So let's take a look at the top 6 car companies. So let me actually go ahead and bring out, and this is interesting. Let's just do this. So we're gonna do a new chart layout. What are the 6 top car companies according to you guys other than Tesla? We're talking about regular like GM, Ford, Toyota, like all those stocks. Tell me the tickers and I will create an index and we'll compare that with the Tesla's stock price. So we'll do that just for fun. Of course we're gonna add Ford. So we're gonna add Ford, plus we're gonna add GM, General Motors, plus we're gonna add, let's see, Toyota. So Toyota is gonna be, hopefully it's this one, right? Yeah, it should be this one. VW is a great one. Thank you for bringing that. So what's the ticker symbol for Volkswagen, Justin? All right, so it's going to be this one. And then we've got, so VW, we've got Ford, we got GM, BMW we should also have, I feel like. Or is BMW listed on the stock exchange? Yep, so, alright, so it's that one, Volkswagen. Should be this, right? With Y at the end. And then we've got Hyundai. Let me see if there's any other. Thank you so much for subscribing. I really appreciate that. Listed in Germany. Yeah, so it's listed in Germany, right? Let me see if I can bring up that stock. So yeah, it's not coming up as BMW, but so we've got Ford, we've got GM, we've got Toyota, we've got Volkswagen, and we're gonna add one more to this list, Lexus. So what's the ticker for Lexus? Right, is it this one? No, it shouldn't be this one. Honda is a good one, so let's see if we can find that. Honda Motors should be that one. So this right here is the chart, the daily chart for all these Oh, Lexus is Toyota. Yep. So for all these, so we got Ford, GM, Toyota, Volkswagen, and the last one that we added was Honda, all in one chart here. And this is market cap weighted, so you'll notice that we're trading as high as 198. They're up a little bit over 23 basis points. And then we've got our Tesla over here on the daily chart. I mean, it's down. Recently, you guys will notice it's this index has actually outperformed since December, and Tesla has struggled. But if you go over to the weekly chart, you'll notice that this drop has been quite severe for Tesla versus these automakers, right? This was the pandemic, January, February 20 drop. And since then, you know, they're up a little bit over 89%. And Tesla is up, of course, a little bit over 1,000%. So that right there is a perfect comparison of where these have been trading. So let's take a look at where everything is trading. So 630 again. Tesla getting bought up a little bit. We've got Palantir up over 24, and we've got NIO also up over 12%, although it is off from a little bit from the highs. So yeah. All right, guys. So I'm actually gonna unfortunately end the live stream here. I gotta go get some work to do, but thank you so much for joining in. I really, really appreciate that. And don't worry, the markets are going to be fine. Trust me. And, you know, this is just part of the markets. They go up and down every single day, right? That's the market's job. And our job is to always maintain that risk and kind of like see where the markets go in the future and reposition ourselves appropriately. So I know I'm really sorry, but I will put out the market update as usual. Right after the markets close, I'll put out an update on Tesla and NIO as well. Separately, I'll go over maybe Palantir as well. But again, thank you so much for joining in. I really, really appreciate that. Maybe I'll cover some other, broader markets, the macroeconomics that we have covered as well. I'll definitely do that as well. So thank you so much for joining in. Again, make sure that you drop a like. It really helps out with the channel. Subscribe if you're new here. We talk a lot about the fundamental and technical analysis as well. And then we'll also, you guys are hilarious, the market's gonna crash. No, it won't crash. So again, thank you so much for joining. Check out the Patreon link down in the description below if you want to get access to our Discord and our TradingView charts. Again, thank you so much for joining, and I will see you guys in the next video.